Hey, hi everybody. Welcome for coming. Before we start, right, can I have a show of hands? How many of you are in primary school? Okay, thank you very much. If you want to speak, because this is going to be an interactive session, later we will have students joining us because they are all over the place right now for a variety of reasons. Some in school, some appointments, but they'll be joining us. And I think it's important to ask some questions. Okay, so video team, I want you to start recording what I want to say. Okay, then the first question I want to ask is this: why are you here tonight? So Emma is our student speaker. She's just joined us. So I just want to get a sense of things. Okay, why are you here tonight? Any answer at all is possible. And going forward, we're going to get more students to try to speak. We just to get a sense of the ideas, right? Why are you here tonight? All of you feel free to chat, raise your hands, or whatever. And there's a reason why I am having certain students here tonight, okay? So everybody listens carefully. There's a profile of students which we're having here tonight. Number one is Emma, as you can see, Emma here now. Later, you're going to say Feiran. Okay, so Emma and Feiran are new, but it's just because that they are relatively new, it doesn't mean that you cannot build your portfolio. And this is exactly why we are conducting this seminar. How you build your portfolio through speaking. We got many examples, but right now I just want to talk about a couple in the first place. Yes, we have Feiran. Feiran has just joined us as well, and later we have an experienced one. Experienced one is Nehun. Nehun, we'll talk about that later, but I want to focus more on Feiran and Emma here right now. Okay, so let me tell you the things which we are going to say. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to ask, right? It is never too late to start anything. Emma is in year 5. So I just tell you a little bit about Emma. Emma used to, Emma, before she entered ACSI, year 5 right now, she was at CHIJ Tua Payoh. Okay, she was at CHIJ Tua Payoh. So both these students, I got to know them pretty much when they were primary 6. How do I know them when they were primary 6? For a variety of reasons. Feiran and Emma, you were in a COVID year, correct? You were in the COVID year. You took your O levels in 2020. You took your PSLE in the year 2020 when COVID struck, correct? So they were right in the struck of PSLE where everything was disrupted. And how do I get to know these students? I got to know these students through My Stretcher seminars. And coincidentally, both of them, for some reason, ended up in my oral class. Okay? They ended up in my oral bootcamp class. I was pretty happy with Feiran, but I was totally, really disappointed with Emma. I was not disappointed. I wanted to strangle her, but that's a story for later. So completely different profiles. We get them to share more later. And as I always mention, how do we become better speakers? This platform is one of them. Okay, later Nehun will be joining us. Nehun has attended all our seminars since primary 5. Whatever seminar I conduct, he's there to share. So over time, it becomes better and better. It says, yes, Julian, you raise your hand. Julian, yes, please feel free to unmute yourself and speak.
Say hello. Hello.
Hello, Julian. Oh, Julian, yes. Julian, you are my student, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking about which student. Yes, Julian. Julian is a primary 4 student at Taonan. Yes, Julian, what is your question?
I have no question. I'm just answering your question just now because you told
Oh,
raise your hand if you have a meaning to come to this class.
okay, Ken. So, okay, sure, cool. Thank you very much. So we are here today to share some things, how to build your portfolio. So a couple of things which I want to share first. Whatever documents we should have here, okay, whatever documents which you're going to have is that you will get them. Don't worry, I will share them through this. Okay, so let me share my first things so that you understand what we are sharing tonight, so that you get a sense of things and how you can easily try to become better over time. Everybody can see my screen? Can? Feiran, am I?
Yeah, I can.
You can see, right? Okay, so don't worry, all these things we will share with you later. It's just an outline. So as you can see for the time, building strong profiles and portfolios through public speaking. We have many students who have done that, but tonight, I would just want to share an example. Ashni cannot join us today because she has got something on, but I just want to talk about Ashni first. Ashni used to be same thing. I got to know Ashmi probably when she was in primary 5, primary 6 through all the My Teacher seminars, not just me, but other teachers as well. So anytime when we notice you is always a good thing. And that's why it's very good to attend some of these seminars. Our previous oral seminar, I'm not too sure whether you attended, but I think around 1,200 people sign up. Okay, that was just like last week. So to keep a lookout for this. So Ashni, I want to tell you how Ashni got a head prefect. The ability to speak was fundamental. So when you hear from Ashni, you realize that it's totally fundamental. And Ashni wasn't like that when she was in secondary school. I think in primary school, she was a good speaker. Yes, I think she could get good marks for oral, but she was not at this level. So everything for me is a journey, right? And one of the key differentiators in the head prefect. So to become head prefect of TKGS, you need to undergo many rounds, okay? And in the final 2 rounds, it was all about speaking. Then last round, you need to convince the audience, whole school, as to why they should vote for her as head prefect. Not only that, you got to tackle the questions. And actually, when she attended the interview, all her principal and all her teachers, those in charge of the interview, said that where did she learn her speaking skills? Okay, because it's very important. So speaking is a journey. We can become better and better over time. 100%. Yeah, 100%. So does it enable you to become a leader? Yes, in various capacities, be it out of school or outside it. So Ashni is not here today, but we have 3 other students here, which I think we should focus more attention on. First is Fei Ran and Emma. Okay, I'll tell you about Fei Ran's journey later, and maybe perhaps you can ask him directly yourself, but that will come later. As I mentioned, I got to know Fei Ran when he was in primary 6 in the My Teacher seminars, and he ended up being in my oral online boot camp. So I always thought that Aaron was a relatively decent speaker. But what happened was that, in my opinion, when he went to RI, all these things was suppressed. Okay, all these things was suppressed, and it is not intentional. It's just the way the system works. Yeah, it doesn't mean that. And again, I want to stress, it doesn't mean that you go to a particular school, you automatically become a good speaker. No, it is not the domain of only the IP schools. It is not the domain of certain schools, and this is very important. And this is why I said you always need to create the platforms. Again, I want to tell you about the general education system. It's important to listen to what I say, okay? Now, in those days, before the IP days, everybody took O-levels, correct? Everybody took O-levels. So yes, everybody took O-levels. I was at RI like 38 years ago. That's a long, long time ago, 38 years ago. I took my O-levels in 1989. After that, I went to Raffles Junior College. I took my A-levels in 1991. So all of us, whatever the school, you can be from St. Gabriel Secondary, you can be from CHI St. Nick's, you can be from Victoria School, you can be from ACS, you can be from Boon Lay Secondary School. All of us go through the whole system, and the system was pretty uniform. So we learn the same thing every year, okay? So if year 1, you learn English, you learn mathematics, you learn science, all in a specific sequence. The only difference between the schools is the types of questions, okay? So in some schools, the questions may be more difficult, but everybody goes through the same progression. Now, during my time, did we learn how to speak? The answer is no. Yes, we had an oral exam, but as you know, oral exam, you just tick, tick, tick. Do you agree? You may get a good score for your PSLE, but it doesn't mean that you are a confident speaker. This will always be true. I know I teach many of these students. And though I may be a good student academically, did I know how to speak then? No, I didn't know how to speak then, simply because I was simply terrified. Okay, I was simply terrified. Why was I terrified? Because of my very bad experience when I was in primary school. When I was in primary school, I was a head prefect. But I was head prefect not because of my capability. No. I was head prefect because the teacher likes me. That's the only reason. Okay, the teacher likes me, and for some reason or other, I found myself as a head prefect. Then I had a disastrous experience giving my very first speech because I spoke from memory and I couldn't deliver the speech at all. But that's a story for another day. So it was a very bad experience. And because of that, I didn't speak actually for the rest of my secondary school years and for the rest of my JC years. So this was really a travesty of justice. So believe it or not, I never uttered a single word when I was in secondary school, when I was in JC. Why? Because I really felt that I was a bad speaker. But in those days, most of the students do not speak as well. Okay, so that was those days. Pretty much the same everywhere. So your ability to speak depends on your own personal things, not really so much school. Then came the IP days. Okay, so I tell you how the IP has also evolved so that you all understand. Now, when it came to IP days, the reality was that many IP schools removed the oral and listening. And that was especially in the first 10 years. And this for me was a tragedy. So when students come to me at my structure, they say that, hey, Mr. Kuek, oral and speaking is not important because my school doesn't test for this. Then I ask them, think about it. What's the reason why we learn a language? What's the reason why we learn a language? We learn a language in order to communicate. And what is communication? Communication is being confident in whatever you're delivering. It doesn't matter what the platform is. It can be a public speaking platform. It can be a storytelling contest. It can be a presentation. It can be a class project. Everything is about communication. It's also about listening. So why did they remove it? So for the first 10 years, pretty much most of the schools had this component removed, and the problem soon crept up. I'm just telling you from my experience. They found out that many of the students couldn't really speak. And this is the truth. Okay, this is the truth. So over the time, some of the schools re-implemented some of these, but they are very superficial. Why I say they're very superficial, like for instance, in some schools, I won't mention the name, you may just have 2 oral speaking assignments a year and just should deliver a simple speech. Just deliver. Okay, but whether you do it right or wrong, nobody cares. They just give you a score. Yes, it is better than nothing, but does it make you become a confident speaker? Not really. That's number one. It's still better than having nothing. Clear? And there are some IC schools which from year 1 to year 4, you have 0. Still exists in the current system, 0. So you find that many of them do not get the confidence to speak. I'm telling you from actual experience, yeah, because I know a number of these students for my own classes and for their classes at my structure. So this is the reality, okay? So I'm going to get some students. So everything is about your personal involvement, but is speaking important? Absolutely. So I want to talk about a couple of things so that you all know why speaking is important. Whatever you say, speaking does make you have a certain persona. It enables you to have something which very few students have. And if you have this ability, you find that you can easily beat at least 95% of all students in Singapore. When I say all students, I'm not referring to primary school students. I'm referring to primary, JC, secondary, university. It's not too difficult. You can easily distinguish yourself. And for that, I want to talk about Fei Ran first before I get to know. Now, Fei Ran, last time, when he went to RI, he wanted to get into the debate team, okay? He wanted to get in the debate team, but he didn't get in. But it really doesn't mean anything. Because right now, if I were to pitch him against the RI debaters, there are quite a number of them in my class, you realize that they are no match for Fei Ran at all. I'm telling you this, the truth, okay? And the decision will probably be unanimous. I speak the truth. It's not about whether you get a debate team out doesn't make you a good speaker. Some debaters are really good, but I would say that 80% they can improve. Why? Because debating only is one particular style. And many of them have to do it by referring to their scripts. It's not necessarily correct, it's not necessarily wrong, but you need to expand beyond your repertoire. Naewoon will tell you this because that was exactly how I told him to build his speaking repertoire. When he came to see me, I got to know Naewoon, Sec 4 in RI. He has been a My Stretcher student ever since he was a primary 3. So for many, many years, right? For many, many years, primary 3, primary 4, primary 1. But Naewoon is a different caliber. Naewoon is the national speaking champion. He's the top speaker in RI, top debater in RI as well, and the way he speaks is really, really very versatile right now. So that's why I'm also bringing him in later. He joins later because he's got some meetings. Everything is a journey, okay? But you should see him when he first spoke in year 1. I cannot understand. I cannot understand. Number 1. Number 2, same style. Number 3, he cannot do anything else besides that formula. Okay, so over time, we have got to develop. This is my point. So everything is a journey. The reason why Naewoon is here is because he is. So I tell you the profile of these students as well. Naeun so far has been the only student who has Trinity Great Distinction in 2.5 years, grade 4 to grade 8. Okay, next one, followed by Ashni. Ashni, that's why I wanted to feature Ashni as well. Ashni has 4. Ashni hasn't taken grade 8, should take it at grade 8. But the other two students, Naeun and Emma, just joined last year. So they took out the exam well, and Speran took his grade 6 distinction and he got a distinction. Emma took grade 5 and grade 6, got a distinction. So Emma will complete her grade 7 and grade 8 today. Everything is a journey. Everything is possible. It doesn't matter what starting point you become. And there are a number of students here which I see, and all of you get opportunities over time. But I want to feature this particular two first, okay? So why you're here today? To discover how public speaking can build a strong student profile and portfolio. Why speaking matters, builds confidence, and very important for me, it builds the confidence. I repeat, confidence is everything. Okay? And there is no way to get confidence. Is it easy to speak in front of a class? I think it's easy, there's no fear factor. Okay? But there comes a time when we got to go outside of the class. And that is why the platform of speaking is important. Yeah? And I'll let these students share their profile and their speaking experience in a short while. It strengthens the leadership profile, yes, because whether you like it or not, I think it's advantageous if you are a good speaker. Now, I've got 4 president scholars under me, okay, 4. 4 president scholars under me for the last 12 years. First was Moses, second was Eldon, third was, I'm getting really old. I cannot remember the name. The fourth was a girl, the only president scholar in her batch in the COVID year. See, I'm getting really old. When you're old, age doesn't really matter. You become better, but that's not important. What is important is that your ability to speak matters. Okay, the better you have confidence, this matters. So it's not about your ability to everything. Everything can be developed. So I repeat, it doesn't mean that you get scholarship, you're a good leader. No, it doesn't. But having the ability to speak does give you an added edge, especially when most students don't appear confident. This is also the reality. Now you take a look at me. I'm speaking to you, and did I prepare for this talk? No, I didn't. I just spent 5 minutes on this. Not 5 minutes, 10 minutes in coming out with the words for this. Did I think about what I wanted to say? No, I never thought. So right now, I'm speaking just like that. And you realize that once you get the confidence, and maybe Emma and Feiran will demonstrate later, once I give them the topic, they're able to speak. Everything comes with that confidence. Emma and Feiran, are you feeling under the pressure right now? No, right, chill. Okay, this is something which along the time, yeah, totally cool. It's not scary at all. Okay, but I just want to. So let's talk about Emma. So enhances portfolios for DSA Scholarship University. The reason why I want to bring up Emma is this. Everybody take a look at Emma's profile. This has just happened in 1 year. Okay, so you listen. Why do I bring up Emma? Because when I first knew her in primary 6, she was my all-time worst student. Trust me, I'm a very, very, very patient teacher. Okay, I'm a very, very patient teacher. But Emma really put me on the ropes because she was so quiet and everything was one-worded. So I gave many extra remedial. I was very pleased with Feiran, but I was totally pissed off with Emma. This is the difference, okay? I was pleased with Feiran. I was real pissed off with Emma. Not pissed off, like exasperated. And it became so bad that the day before PSLE, I had one final session with Emma and I told her this. Emma, do me a favor. I don't care what you do tomorrow. Just open your mouth. You can make any noise you want. I don't care. Just open your mouth to say something. It came to that extent. Okay, but right now you look at Emma. Emma is a completely different animal right now. Okay, I can tell you for sure, Emma is completely. And this started when? I'll show you when. Now there was this contest which Emma and Feiran took part last year. I can't remember the name of the contest. Let's call it MindSpark Storytelling Contest. The reason why I call it a MindSpark Storytelling Contest because it happened in MindSparks Toa Payoh. Okay, it happened in MindSparks Toa Payoh. So I call it MindSpark Story. Now in that contest, not too many people participated, but I think around 15. But it was a good effort because Emma and Feiran took part. So I tell you who got first. First, Ashni. But Ashni is a competitive speaker. She has always been participating in this, so no problem. So I expect Ashni to win anyway. But Feiran was unanimous. Feiran was second and Emma was third. I thought it was a fantastic achievement because they came in despite all the odds and despite the fact that this was their first speaking contest. Now you see what happens in Emma's case. Because I also know her because she's a mind stretchers. She at secondary school, she was a mind stretcher student, so I also know her quite well. So you see, just a start. 2004, just June last year, she took part in the first contest. She ended up third place, which was commendable. I told her, she told me she didn't expect to win. I said that, yes, no problem, but it is a step, an experience in the right direction. It's really not important. Even though it seems cliche, we need to win, we want to win, cool. But trust me on this, we just need the chance to speak. Once you do it over time, it doesn't matter whether you win. Winning is sometimes it's just luck also. Sometimes it's ability, yes, but it also depends on the credentials of the judges. Not all judges are good speakers. So if judges were not good speakers judging, then you always have problems. Okay, that's why we always try to have good judges in our speaking contest. So third place, student panelist. Now because of that, and when I saw that she could now speak in public, I gave her the next platform. Right now, at the Master Speakers Trinity London Awards presentation, she was a student panelist. That means there were 4 of them. Then Wei Lun would speak and the answer right live on the spot, unprepared. Because I found she was ready. Now she took the December 2004 Trinity Grade 5, she got a distinction, and this was against all expectations. This was against all expectations. Hold on, I'm getting a call from Neywoon. Hold on. Yes, Neywoon, we are in the talk right now. Sure, can. Don't worry, your presence is not missed. I'm speaking live to the audience here right now. Okay, thanks. No, he was trying to give me a billion excuses as to why it's late. I said, don't worry, presence is not missed. Okay, so 3 things to listen. Then in 2025, she took part in an online Asia Pacific contest, which was organized by an entity in Australia and involved various countries, Australia, Korea, China, Singapore. And against all expectations, she emerged first. Now you see, everything is starting to click into place. Then there's another thing, in the same contest, impromptu speaking. In the same contest, expressive story, next expressive reading is impromptu speaking. She ended up 4th. Okay, so you see, everything is now happening. Then in this year, what happens? Because I think her speaking ability got noticed, or whatever reasons, or maybe because she's the most good-looking girl in class in school. Right now, she's invited as a moderator. So moderator, now you are moderating a group of lawyers. So these lawyers came to give talks for all the MGS and schools. She was now the moderator. It was a 1-hour session. So you need to respond to the questions, moderate, pause, give insights as needed. Not so easy, but great experience. So because of that, right now, in future also, the school has invited her to be moderators for future events. It only happens if you're good. If not confident, it will not happen, because trust me, it is not so easy. So even right now, even for my stretcher, or even for master speakers, you realize that right now, I do not let any students moderate yet. The only person which I'm allowed to moderate so far was Venu, but Venu is a completely different level. Venu is a few levels higher. Right now, he's in university, but I let him moderate one of the smaller events. So over time, but right now he's moderating a lot of university forums. Everything comes with a journey, but in time to come, they will be able to. Yeah. Now also she took part in the invitation debates. It doesn't matter what the event is. You take an initiative, you do part. We can do a lot of things like JC intern, 3D grade 6 distinction, so forth, so forth. Finalist, National Poetry Contest. She took part in National Poetry. She was one of the finalists. And again, the judging is not exact science. I really expected her to be top 3 because I thought it was really good. Maybe we can share the video recording another time. Okay? She was also one of the valedictorians, not for master speakers, but for mind stretcher. MC, actor, a cappella, CCA concert. So everything is a profile, and this happened just within 1 year. You realize that everything cascaded, everything is about the confidence. So right now, I want to get Emma to share experience first before we get Fei Ran. It's very important to hear from them and how you build your speaking. Everything, it doesn't matter what a portfolio is, it will be useful going forward. I can absolutely assure you that. I just want to talk about my own experience. I may not be a top student in school, I may not be a top student in university, but anytime you send me to have interview, I tell you, my chances of getting the interview is really high. Why? Because I always project that confidence. Yeah, same thing. Everything is about projection and confidence. If you get an ordinary teacher, you put the teacher beside me, I think chances are that the teacher is difficult to challenge me. This is a fact. Whatever the subject, it really doesn't matter unless it's something which I really do not know. But you put a teacher beside me, when it comes to speaking, when it comes to delivery, I think it's difficult to be better than I am, not because the teacher is inferior, but because I exude a confidence. Okay, I exude a confidence, and this confidence can only be gained. You cannot learn it. I repeat, confidence cannot learn. You want to be a good speaker, you got to keep on doing it. You do once, you do twice, you do 3 times, you do 4 times, you do 5 times, you do 10 times, you do 25 times, you do 30 times, you do 50 times. After that, it's second nature. Right? Every second nature. So you realize right now, if I were to give a 4-hour lecture on this, trust me, I can talk on and on and on and on. I really can talk. Actually, I can really give you a 4-hour lecture on this, and I don't even need to prepare. Why? Because it's just the level of confidence. I cannot really explain to you. You must experience it yourself. Okay, that's why everything is a journey. So right now we want to invite. So don't worry, I'm sharing you. Then later we're going to talk about how to prepare for the contest. Not too difficult. We make it easier for you, definitely, and we're going to give you all these things. Okay, so bear with us. But I want to go through this first so that you know why this is. So let me invite Emma to share her experience. Emma, the stage is yours before we invite Fairan.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma, like what Mr. Alvin mentioned, and I'm really excited to be speaking to all of you today. Okay, about my experience. Well, as always, Mr. Alvin loves to talk about my the time I used to speak when I was in primary school.
Yeah, because you're one of a kind. I remember you for all the wrong reasons. Do you see me talking about Fairan in that light? No. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's true. I used to fail my oral examinations, and a lot of my teachers were really angry at me because they were like, "Why out of all the components, why is oral the thing that you are failing?" And to them, it's probably like the one of the easiest components, but to me, it was one of the hardest. So I really couldn't express myself well, and I think it came from it was because really I was too scared to speak. Like even when I saw my examiner, I would just be completely silent, and I wouldn't know what to say because everything that I prepared in that 10 minutes before I met the examiner would just like fly off my brain. And honestly, in primary school, I wasn't able to communicate really well. But then in secondary school, I think things started to change because I slowly started to realize that, hey, this is not right. I mean, it's not only is it affecting my results, it's also affecting my ability to be able to get opportunities and to be able to just converse and express myself to other people, right? So then in secondary one, I decided to just slowly try to step out of my comfort zone. And so the first thing I did that I remember was to audition for the debate CCA. And against all odds, I got in. But then I mean, I decided not to join in the end because I had another CCA that I wanted to join. But that's besides the point. I think that through just putting myself out there and just trying to see where I can push myself and to be able to just I remember on the day of my debate audition, I was really, really scared. But I just went in and I just tried. And I think that really helps to boost my confidence a bit. And slowly I started taking up leadership positions, and that really helped me to be able to just speak to a wider group of people. And I mean, initially I wasn't really used to it, but through practice and through experience, like what Mr. Alvin said, I think that's really important, and that really helped me to be able to become more confident in my speaking. And fast forward to this year, I think a lot of things have changed. I really try to push myself to just try to be open and just seize whatever opportunity that comes my way. I think this is really important because you really need to just try everything and be open to trying new things, because it's only through experience and through practice, right? You'll be able to gain the experience and to be able to be a better speaker in general. And I think even when I started off in secondary 4, I started attending master speakers classes. Initially, if from what I remember, I was really scared to attend the classes, and I wasn't. I really wasn't. I thought I wouldn't be able to make it through the year attending the classes, but then slowly I built my confidence, and hey, now I really enjoy what I do, and I think I'm really excited for more opportunities to come my way. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma. So everything is a journey. So right now, before we proceed to Fei Ran, right, do any of you have any questions for Emma? Because I always mention, sometimes it's good to learn from, it's always good to hear from students who are live before you. And they are part and parcel of your journey as well. So do you have any questions for Emma? Anybody has any questions for Emma? So Emma, when you first took part in the My Sparks contest last year, were you nervous?
Of course.
You were, of course. Why are you nervous?
It was my very first competition, I think, and because I was preparing for my O levels in June,
Yes.
and I didn't really have a lot of time to prepare my script, and I remember writing it the day before, so I didn't really have a lot of time to prepare, and just hours before the contest, I was memorizing my script and trying to like rehearse my lines, and so when I went on stage, I wasn't exactly the most confident, but I mean, I just took it as a learning experience. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emma, for answering that question. So you see, I'm now performing the role of a moderator so that certain points get come out, okay, so that you all learn as well. But you see, what we are trying to establish here is this. It is normal to go on stage when you are, it's normal to be nervous when you go on stage for the first time. Okay, when you go on stage for the first time, it's normal to be nervous. Yeah, totally normal at all. So don't think you're exceptional. Don't think you are different. I mean, it's normal. But once you get the flavor of it, it's not so scary over time. But this is going to come with confidence. Okay, and different faces. You just take a look at me. Okay, there were in total 41 finalists. Okay, for the National Poetry Contest across 3 categories: primary at the National Library a couple of weeks ago. So even the 3 categories of finalists out of 300 plus entries, 3 categories of primary school, secondary school, open. Now, how did I ended up in the open? I'm not there to compete, but I ended up competing for one reason. So everybody listens, this one is never too, not to say I need to compete, but this is what happened. Because I was teaching the students how to emote in the poetry, okay? So, and I kept repeating it, then I very picture already. So I said, okay, why don't you record me? See how I do it, so I don't need to keep repeating and repeating. But since they already recorded me, I might as well just submit the entry. Okay, so this was what happened. I submitted the entry, and together with Emma, I was one of the finalists. Now, the problem with me is that some of the parents ask me, I get nervous on stage. No, I'm past the stage of anxiety. It doesn't matter whether it's 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, 2,000 people, 5,000 people. It really doesn't matter anymore. I am never nervous. The problem with this poetry contest for me was this. I had to memorize. I'm past the stage already. Last time when I was younger, maybe, but whatever I do now, I don't memorize. I don't even need to think. So do you realize the challenge I have? When I submitted for the preliminary contest, I had a teleprompter. So of course I can do it with the teleprompter. But in the finals, people think I'm nervous. It's not nervous, it's just that I was trying to recall. And I couldn't recall. And I told the human teleprompter to be right in front. I said that I am not going to be able to remember, so please prompt me. But every time you prompt, I get marks deducted. It was better than nothing. So I mumble all my poems. So it's important to understand that. But it was not because, now you see, I appear to be nervous. But I was not really nervous. That's why the important thing is this. Even if you're nervous, you must appear not to be nervous. This is a skill. Do you understand? So this is the things which we need to learn over time. Okay, so the long and short was this poetry contest. I'm not nervous, but because unlike all the kids can memorize, I'm already. Age does matter. In the older days, my memory was very good, but as you grow older, I was thinking, why am I memorizing? This is not my forte at this point in time. Okay, so I just want to tell you so different things, but I thought Emma did really, really well. Okay, Wen Chen, you raise a hand before we get Fei Ran to share. Yes?
I have a question for Emma.
Okay, wait, Wen Chen, how old are you?
I'm 9 years old.
You're 9 years old, so you're primary 3.
Yeah.
What school are you from?
Anderson Primary School.
Anderson Primary School, good. Okay, so it's somewhere. Okay, cool. Okay? Yes, you have a question for Emma. Go ahead.
Emma, what do you think speaking? How would you describe speaking in one word and why?
This one I think like interviewer already, you know. Describe speaking in one word and why. Why do you like speaking in one word? Describe your passion for speaking in one word and tell us why. Interviewer.
Well, there are many words I can think of right now, but one word which I would say in the current moment is, I think, inspiration. To me, I think public speaking is really not about yourself in a sense, but I think it's about how you want to interact with the audience and how you want to like express yourself to the audience, right? Because ultimately, when you're speaking, you want to make sure that the audience really enjoys themselves and you want them to be engaged in your story. So I think when I give speeches, when I try to or even when I'm doing emceeing, or as he mentioned, when I was doing like the student moderation, I think the main thing that I tried to convey is what like that sort of I really tried to make sure that the audience feels included, so that you don't want to be losing your audience halfway through your speeches. So I think that's the most important thing about public speaking, is to really try to engage and inspire the audience in various ways.
Thanks, Emma. That was very inspiring.
Thank you. For primary 3 student to ask a question like that, I'm totally inspired by you as well. So you just inspired me. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk about Fei Ran. I'll give you a brief profile. So as I mentioned, I got to know Fei Ran when I was primary 6. I was, for me, a much more confident and competent speaker compared to Emma. So Emma was in my bad books, Fei Ran was in my good books. Okay? But somewhere along the line, when he came to see me again in Sec 3 in RI, when he first attended some of the holiday classes, I felt that he had lost that zest. He had lost that confidence, which was completely, which he had when he was in primary 6. And I tell you this is not unusual. Okay, it's not unusual. You know why? Because the school doesn't give you the platform, or the school gives a platform to certain students and you'll be left out. And over time, if you don't get the chance to speak, you become smaller and smaller. And I tell you this from my real experience, okay? So that's why I always tell you all, it is not the school. Just because you go to a particular school, it doesn't mean that you are going to be a good speaker. You must find an avenue. It doesn't matter whether you attend master speakers, it doesn't matter whether you attend this or that, but most important is that your ability to have a platform to speak. Very, very important. And the more you do it, over time you realize it's really not too difficult. And I recently made Fei Ran, in the recent June Trinity exam, the December Trinity exam presentation, I let Fei Ran take the stage. That means in the Trinity award presentation, Fei Ran was the main speaker. And I thought he did a fabulous job. So again, all these speeches we are going to compile and we're going to share with everybody so that everybody can see real speaking in action. So Sweti, can you remind me about this? We need to show these videos to all the students and all the parents so that they understand why certain things have happened. And for me, it was a fantastic achievement, right? It doesn't matter whether, in all honesty, normally I will give them feedback after all their speeches. Okay, I do not know whether you know another student, the one who took my class, because I was not feeling well the last 2 weeks. So I got one student to take the class, but this student is not an ordinary student. Why I say he's not an ordinary student? So I'll tell you a little bit about this student. This student is called Jared. Okay, Jared is not an ordinary. Jared was from Yangzheng Primary School. But when he went to RI, nobody could touch him when it came to speaking. And trust me, he was the MC for all RI events because he was my student for many years. And he was obviously one of the top students in RI. When he went to RI, top humanities student, 8As, so forth, and he got his PSC scholarship in July. He got his PhD in August, way before he took his O-levels. Then when he went to Brown, which is an Ivy League university, he was a top student of his cohort there with a perfect GPA score. So this guy is a jack of all trades, master of all. But again, when he first gave his speech at a Mice Fracture presentation event, I told him, when he gave his first speech when he was in Sec 3 or Sec 4, I told him he was totally off. Number one, I told him, you forgot about audience and you totally didn't connect with the audience. But this time around, when he did the speech, again, now as a graduate student, I thought it was fantastic in front of a crowd of 500. Everything is a journey. Yeah. Okay, now Feiran, the stage is yours.
Can you all hear me? Okay, thank you, Mr. Alvin, for that wonderful introduction, and Emma for that inspiring speech. So I think I'll share my side of the story. So I know Mr. Alvin said in primary 6, I was in the good books for oral, I was, a confident speaker, but I felt that gradually, as I continued on in secondary school, because I didn't really get to speak much, most of the examinations were either, pen and paper. There was very little opportunities for me to speak, especially since a lot of the leadership positions were popularity based. So they usually choose people based on how popular they are. And because of that, a lot of people are left without much opportunities to really exercise their public speaking skills. And I think the very first public speaking experience I had was in primary 6. It was during the graduation speech where I was the valedictorian. And at that time, I thought I could do it because, oral was not very hard for me. It was like a simple conversation. It was just like a one-to-one. You can say anything you want. But when I stepped onto the stage, I saw like there were 200 or even 300 students. And then my mind just went blank at the time. Like all the preparations, all the memorizing of the script, all the, writing of the script and crafting to make the speech as good as possible, it was just thrown out of the window. And for the first 30 seconds, I was on stage, I was stuttering, and I couldn't remember what I wanted to say next. But because of that, I just had to read the entire script from start to finish. And I think it was a really bad speech delivered, considering that, I was supposed to represent my school in this graduation speech. And moving on to secondary 1 and 2, I think because I didn't really have any opportunities to present, to say stuff in front of the whole class, I became quite introverted. I became quite unwilling to even raise up my hands in class to, answer questions, because I was scared that I would mess up. I scared that, I got something wrong and the entire class would judge me. So I think this really changed after the very first master speakers. Like, it was a holiday session and it was a debate session. And I think one of the most important things that really helped me to overcome this fear of judgment is to throw away my script. So I remember before this session started, we had to give this prepared speech on 2 minutes for anything we wanted. And I wrote this very, very long script. It was about climate change or something like that. And as I was delivering it, like, no one was interested. Everyone was dozing off. And it really made me feel that, perhaps I could just come up with a better topic on the spot. And that's what Mr. Alvin made me do. He said that, you can just choose any topic for 2 minutes and talk about something you're interested in. But the catch is that this time I couldn't follow a script. Like, I'm not allowed to follow a script at all. And well, at the start it was really, really hard. Like, even if it was something you were very familiar with, at the time I was really interested in philosophy. So I wanted to give this cringe speech about why we do not exist or something like that. And because I didn't have the script at the start, it was really hard for me to continue. It was really hard to come up with new points. But I feel that after this experience, I realized that maybe I don't need the script, because sometimes when you're focused on memorizing, when you're focused on reading the script like word for word, you tend to just limit yourself, limit your content to like what you really, instead of what you really wanted to say, or any new thoughts that popped up will easily just be eliminated. Yeah, so I think for me, the first stepping stone was really getting rid of the script. And of course, this doesn't come very easily. Of course, you need a lot of practice. Like for example, you need a lot of practice in spontaneous speaking. You need a lot of practice to just go out there, make mistakes and fail. Because if you just stay silent, if your school doesn't give you any opportunities, or you don't try to find opportunities to speak, then it's really hard for you to improve. It's really hard for you to get feedback or do self-reflection, because you don't even know how well you can handle when you stand in front of 300 students to give a speech. And even though many people think that public speaking is not very important today, a lot of classmates I know, they just want to be, computer science majors. They just want to work in a certain field. But even in these fields, speaking and public speaking is still really important. I think, okay, I will share my mother's story about public speaking. So my mom was born in China, and then she went through the Gaokao, and she had a completely Chinese education where there was very little focus and emphasis in public speaking. So when she first came to work in Singapore, she came to work as a computer science major. She came to work in a computer science company where all she did every day was just code, code, code. And then when she was about 30 years old, I remember that she really, really wanted this promotion. And in order to get it, she was made to present in front of a group of people coming in from a very big company. And she said that was her very first speaking experience. And what she did was she just stood in front of the presenting screen and she froze there. She just didn't move. Her entire body was blocking the screen. And she was mumbling and she couldn't continue her speech. And because of that, she didn't get the promotion in the end. And that was about 20 years ago. And can you imagine the time now where so many opportunities, so many leadership roles all come with the prerequisite that you really have to be able to speak publicly, really need to be confident in yourself to say stuff in front of 200 or even 1,000 people. So I think speaking is not a very easy journey, but it's a journey that requires you to put in that first step. It requires you to really step out of your comfort zone. And you may be good at the start. You may have confidence in yourself, but you definitely need to keep practicing in order to get better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Feiran, for sharing the journey. I hope you all now believe what I say. Everything is a journey. As I mentioned before, you should see me, even by teaching master speakers, because even by teaching master speakers, I become a better speaker. This is also the reality. So even at my age, I'm a pretty much confident speaker. I don't need any script. And I think it's very important. I want to stress this point. Many adults are fearful of impromptu speaking because they say that, in Toastmasters, they call it table topics. But once they have this fear, it is very difficult. Trust me on this. Once you must have this mindset. People ask me impromptu speaking, is there any big secret? No. Do I prepare for them in advance? No, because I'm not going to ask you about nuclear physics. I'm not asking you about mathematical theories. We're just asking you about something which are in relation to your life. So you must understand, most importantly, that when it comes to this, most importantly, and many adults and many students don't dare to speak for two reasons. Number one, you are fearful that what you say is wrong. So let me tell you something. If you are fearful, you'll never become a good speaker because you're too conscious. And nobody will ever like what you're going to say because some people like, some people will not like. So this is the reality. So this is what, you see, in all our classes, we make sure that every student will get to develop the ability to speak on the spot. Don't need to look at the script. Everything is just telling a story. It will take time, but trust me, you do it often enough, you will come to a stage where everything is just like that. Everything is just like that. Everything is just like that. Just like all of them. Now you see Feiran and Emma are speaking. Did I ask them to prepare in advance? No. I just threw them questions. I say, here, you just tackle whatever questions that come into your way. Do they need to prepare? No, they don't need to prepare. In fact, later on, if we have time, we are going to ask them to do impromptu speech demonstration. Now you don't see the hand shaking because it's online, so it's fine. So don't worry. So Newon has just joined us. Okay, the reason why I got Newon here as well, because Newon is, as I mentioned, Newon is a little bit different because he's a competitive speaker and he has taken part in a lot of contests and has won many of them. Also, he is good in speaking, but again, it can be nurtured because the way he speaks now is entirely different from the one-dimensional way which I saw him after his P6 PSLE days. Trust me on this. In fact, when I was looking at all the videos, even when I saw Ashni taking part in the contest 2 years ago, she's a completely different animal now. Hold on, I see one Chloe here. Is this Chloe Lu? Chloe? I see one Chloe here. Is this Chloe Lu? Yes or no? I'm looking at some of the names. I just want to see whether it is Chloe Lu. If a Chloe Lu, say yes. Are you Chloe Lu? I see Itasha. There's only one Itasha in the whole world, so I totally know who you are. Okay. Jeremy. Okay, Julian, Karen. Because you all don't go by your surname. So everything is a journey. Okay, so don't worry about that. Yeah. Chloe? Is it Chloe? I don't think you're Chloe Lu, right? There's silence. Okay, don't worry. So I will talk more about Neon's speaking journey later. So I want to talk about this. Everything is a platform. We need to start. Okay, before I forget, Feiran, last year, the My Spark Storytelling Contest, was it the first contest? Speaking.
Yeah, it was my first speaking contest.
Exactly. So this is my point. The reason why I asked Emma and Feiran here was because it was the first speaking contest. And in that period, they have grown a lot. And I speak for sure because I teach many students. I'm very frank with you right now, okay? I'm very frank with you. If you look at all my senior students, and I consider them to be my senior students, not just because of age, but their ability to speak right now. I consider them to be my senior students. The reality is that when it comes to speaking on the spot, viewpoints, everything, different aspects, I think Feiran is definitely among the top two. This is my frank opinion. Feiran is among the top two. The other one being Newon. But Newon is a born liar, so it's easier for him. Okay, but Feiran is at this level now. This is my frank opinion. So that's why I said that everything is a journey. It comes with different. Once you break this mindset that speaking on the spot is fearful, it becomes very easy. And you must get this mindset that, it's really not too difficult once you get used to it, but it's all about a journey, definitely. And all these students have been through that phase, right? It was difficult at first, but the more they do it, the better they do it. Everything is about taking that first step. You have to trust on this. I can only tell you so much. If you don't take that active step, you will never. So this is why we decided to have this platform. So let's talk about a couple of things. So I want to go through this platform first so that you all understand what you have to do to make it easier for you. So I want everybody who's here tonight take part in this contest. It's very easy. Why do I say that? Okay, so let me hold on. I'm attaching budding speakers. I'm attaching all these things which we are doing here, budding junior. Then later I will quickly go through them to tell you what you can do with them. For those of you who are in our master speakers classes, we're already having some practice here, but I'll just tell you precisely what you need to do, okay? Just let me attach a couple of things first, then we are done at 5 levels. 1, 2, 3, one more. So you should see five of them. You can share them anywhere you want, It really doesn't matter. I'll come back to that later. So you see 5 documents here. Emerging speakers is for P1 and P2. Budding speakers is for P3 and P4. Junior speakers is for P5 and P6. Aspiring speakers is for Sec 1 and Sec 2. Proficient speakers is from Sec 3 and above. So there are a couple of things. So let's talk about the website first. I want to talk about a couple of things, how you can prepare easily. Don't worry too much about having a perfect speech. That for me is not important. Everybody can see this screen here right now. Okay, so I'm going to come from the perspective of how you can prepare. Okay, let's talk about a couple of things. Why do we have this contest? Okay, why do we have this contest? The only reason is this. We want to give students the experience. Okay, clear? But because there are many entries, the preliminary rounds will be online. Okay, because there are many entries, the preliminary rounds will be online. So today, this year, we are celebrating. Newon, you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so SG60, because this year Singapore is 60 years old. The submission deadline is around 2 weeks from now. So don't worry, if you really need to, we can do something about it. But primarily, you mean students. So a couple of things I want you to. Okay. there are a couple of things that I just want to show you this particular student. It's not on the video, but I want to talk about this particular student. This particular student you see here, like you can't see it, it's not on the stage. This particular student. Now, okay, hold on. Next time I'll show you. Do you see my arrow here right now? He is, okay, I want to talk about this particular student, even though you do not have his video here. You know this particular student? Do you see my arrow? The student in orange.
Yeah, we do see.
Okay, you do see it. I tell you about this student. Okay? This student, his sister at the time it was something by Feiran. Okay, the sister used to be very good at speaking. So she was one of our valedictorians at primary school. But when she went to RGS, I think she lost the confidence. She lost the exuberance. Okay, so it was the same thing. So she saw her. He saw, and remember, this contest took place in August. I believe it took place in August. 2 months, August or July, I can't remember. 2 months before the PSLE. And this boy was there attending. And because I know he was in P6, I asked him, why are you here? He said, we sat in the webinar the other time and you said that in order to become a good speaker, we need to take the plunge. And she said, that's why I'm here. You know why? So I got him to speak in front of everybody. Trust me, his hands were shaking. And I said that despite the fear, tell us why you're here. His hands were shaking. Okay? He said that I'm here because I need to get rid of my fears. I said, who told you to get rid of my fears? He said that you told me to get rid of my fears. I said, when? He said, in a seminar like this. I said, yes. But I said that now it is your PSLE period. Do you want to come? He said, no problem, Mr. Kuek. I'm prepared for my PSLE. So I'm here to just try. And this was a physical event. But within half a year, this student became a very good speaker. Okay, he went to Hwa Chong. He's really a good speaker right now. And he just needed half a year from the trembling hands. I'm telling you real experiences. Okay? So here you see a crowd. This was our first contest. And this was the briefing. Obviously, we would like to have it live, but because of the exigencies in time, why live? I can get students to come. Then you see the flavor, okay? But we'll have more live events going forward. But I thought that because of this, we'll just have it online first. So this was around 100.
Just another public speaking. It's a confidence revolution, and it's happening during a milestone. Singapore's 6th year of write a speech only you can do. The best speeches are personal. They are real. They are honest. Stand tall. Let your body say what words come. Own your speech. Own your story. On the stage. We'll see you at NYOC.
Okay, so the whole reason why I mentioned is that we want to give a platform for as many students to speak as possible. So this is what we're going to do, okay? So why take part? For a variety of reasons. I already said it is to build your portfolio. More importantly, it's not just your portfolio. For me, everything is about confidence building. And there is no way to do it other than to face the crowd. And the more you do it, the better you become. Naewon didn't used to believe me right now, but right now he believes me. When you come to being a really good speaker, now it works like that. The bigger the crowd, the better you perform. Why? Because you're going to draw energy from the crowd. You see, when I teach them in my class, like Naewon, Kirsten, I'm really pissed off because just four of them. So I give my bare minimum. Okay? 4. Just imagine Lady Gaga performing in crowd of 4. You want Lady Gaga performing a crowd of 50,000. That's where you draw the energy, right? So we must come to that level. And can it be done? Absolutely. Everything is a journey. Okay? So that's why for me, once you reach a certain level, it really doesn't matter what the crowd is. In fact, the bigger the crowd, the better you speak. And did all these things come naturally to me? I can assure you, no, it didn't come naturally to me. I was never a good speaker. I was, in fact, much worse than any of you right now, 100%. But even a person as old as I can improve. So definitely you all can. Everything is a question of mindset. So we talk about a couple of things. Now, what happens is this. As long as you submit your entry, all students will receive a certificate of achievement. This will be preliminary rounds. Why preliminary rounds? Because there are many students, right? Semi-finalists and finalists will all receive, now this will be live event. This will be live event. So depending on, for us, we are not really limiting the number of students, but we want to see the quality of of speakers. So if I think they're deserving speakers, I think there should be around 20 finalists, 20 semi-finalists. Then from there, we count on from 10 to become, but whatever it is, once you reach the stage, I think it's good. This will be a live event. Okay, this will be a live event, and you will probably, depending on the premises, it's up to us to see whether we're going to have crowd 100 or 200, right? So it's up to us, but we want to give you the platform. So this is important. Now, how to join? Choose your team. So I've talked about a couple of things here. So I'm going to show you how you do. You can look at the judging criteria, but effectively, everything is about the same. Everything is about how you speak. So how you speak will probably have a little bit more weightage than your content. But don't worry about the content. Why I say don't worry about the content? Because at this level, the preliminary rounds, the most important thing is really how you speak. I can give you the same content. Do you agree? I can give you the same content, but how you deliver it will be different. Everybody agrees? Content for me is not too difficult. What is difficult is nurturing the ability to speak, that confidence. And this will be manifested in your face, your hand gestures, and your voice. Very important. So lower primary, take note. Primary 1 to 3, choose one. Choose one. I think it's good because once you take part, it's really form part of your portfolio. I think it's important. As just now we showed Emma for all these students, everything starts somewhere. Yeah. Judging criteria, language, content, relevance. So don't worry about language and delivery because we provided you to make it easier for you. Do you understand at this point? At this point, because I think the most important thing, because I do understand, if you're primary and primary 2, it's difficult to come up with your script. No problem. What we want to focus on is just your ability to speak. That is why we came up with all these things. Duration, don't worry too much about the timeline, okay? Don't worry too much. You may exceed it by a little. It may be slightly less, slightly more. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't, because this is not a PayStar contest. We're not so strict. What we want to do is that we will not disqualify you. We want students to just take that platform. Very important. So our format is slightly different. Yeah. So a story my grandparents told me about Singapore, something I love about living in Singapore. When I grow up, I want to help Singapore buy. The reason why I want to talk about this is that some students do not understand. Like for this, the shoulders on which we stand. Somebody is not so understand. What do we mean by that? This is a metaphor. It is a metaphor for the people whom we have relied on in the past. So this would be anybody at all who helped build Singapore, the shoulders on which we stand. You know, in English, there's a saying we should learn in our master speakers. We stand on the shoulders of giants, right? So everybody will progressively stand on the shoulders of giants. By standing on the shoulders of giants, you make use of information which they have learned, and from there, you progress forward. Albert Einstein stood on the shoulders of giants like Sir Isaac Newton, and when he realized that the laws of motion breaks down when speed of light, when things start traveling faster and faster, he realized that there must be a new theory. But let me tell you a secret. Actually, if you use Einstein's equation of motion, if you bring down to the speed at a very low level, it technically becomes Isaac's laws of motion. Okay, here is the physicist speaking. Yeah. Anyway, this is just some tidbit, not important to know, but interesting. Yeah. So my dream for Singapore, lower secondary pretty much the same as upper secondary, 2.5 to 3.5, not too long. Lesson for Singapore is you will not forget what it means to be Singapore today. So what we suggest you do is this. For those of you who are in master speakers classes, all you have to do is to just practice your speech in class, which we'll be doing this week and last week and this week. Choose one and then you submit. Or you can ask the teacher to record for you, then you submit. Don't worry too much. Okay, we just need to submit it somewhere. For those of you who are not master speaker students, no problem. So let me tell you how you can make use of this. I'm going to share my screen right now. Okay, I attach. Okay, let me see. I want to show you this testimonial. Why this is important? Is Kai Yuan here? Is Kai Yuan here today? Kai Yuan here is not here. Kai Yuan here? No. Okay, everybody can see this screen? And why this is important? I want to show you why this is important as well. Everybody can see this screen?
Yeah, we can. It's good.
Okay, now I ask a question. Is there anybody from Hwa Chong here? Is there anybody from Hwa Chong here? Is there anybody from Hwa Chong here? Kong Ka Hoi. Okay, Kong Ka Hoi, thank you very much. Ka Hoi, can I speak to you? Okay, can we speak to you? Now I speak to you. Ka Hoi, which year are you in at Hwa Chong?
Sec 1.
Sec 1. Okay, fine. What's your CCA here right now?
English Drama Club.
Okay, English Drama Club. Were you in the National Poem Contest?
Yes.
Yes, no wonder. No wonder I found you familiar. So you saw me, right?
Yeah.
What a tragedy, because I forgot my script. Never mind. So you were taking part, and from there you actually found out that Kayan was there as well. Okay, let me ask you the next question. So everybody listens, this is important. Kahoy, how did you know about the National Poem Contest?
Because like the school introduced it to me and I was like,
Exactly.
yeah.
So you listen, this is what I'm trying to say. The school introduced to you because you are in a school drama club, your school English and drama club. That is why they introduce it to you. Do you understand?
No, it's not just because I'm in English Drama Club. It's because like at the start there was like this poem event in our
Yes,
competition
yes.
in our school, and then
Correct.
after that, yeah,
You need to be noticed, right?
yes.
Exactly. So this is the point. You need to be noticed. Because this is how many schools work. You need to be noticed. If you're noticed, you're not known. And depending on schools. So I'll tell you how. Because there are many different types of schools. There's no one fixed model. Some schools will only open it to students in the English or drama club. If you're not English or drama club, you won't even be on their radar at all. Some schools will open it to a few select students depending on the impressions they have. Some schools very rarely open it to the whole school. Whoever wants to compete, we have an audition. But this is the least favorite model. So I want to talk about Kai Yuan. Now, Kai Yuan is a very good student academically. Okay, Kai Yuan is a very good he has been a my special student since primary 1. So I know him. So he was a GP student at Nanhua. Then he had AL 4D, PSLE 4D. He went to Nanhua and he went to Hwa Chong. And last year he was one of the top students in Hwa Chong with a perfect score of 8 A1s. Okay, so he was shortlisted for academic student of the year, whatever. But what was important was this. I want to tell you his story because 2 years ago, he couldn't speak at all. You should see his video. He couldn't really speak at all. But I told him, Kai Yuan, you need to develop your skills. So he tries to take part in a couple of these contests. And over time right now, Kai Yuan is now a very good speaker. And even when he went to the contest, that's why when you went to the contest, you realized that the teacher was quite shocked. The teacher was quite shocked because they didn't know that Kai Yuan was there. Kai Yuan was there because I told him to take part. I told him to take part because I thought it was good. But again, he chose the wrong poem. That's why he forgot the speech as well. He forgot which stanza he wanted to say. You realize that over time in his journey, when he went on stage during the Q&A, you realize that when they asked him what quote he had, he was stunned. Not because he didn't prepare, except that when he was looking at the crowd, that piece of information just went out of his head. As a result, there was a very long pause. Right? Does it matter? Yes, of course, it's part of the marks counting. So everything is a journey. So you see, by doing this, so just talk about a couple of things. So everything now in your profile. And I tell you, he asked for this testimonial. We gave him this testimonial. Right now, the teacher says that right now we know you. We are going to send you for all the speaking contests or let you know. Before that, he was totally not noticed because he was not in the arena. Do you understand? But of course, when you look at something like that, you realize that this is part and parcel of your resume building already. Everything starts with a journey. Okay, clear? So again, I want to share with you so that you build your portfolio. You want, it doesn't matter whether you're a mind stretcher, it doesn't matter whether you're master speakers. If you want something to build a portfolio, if we can help, we will help. Very important. Niwen is asking for testimonial later. I said that I'll think about it after the seminar ends. Okay, cool. So, okay, cool. So all these things are important, as you can see, right? All these things are important to build that portfolio. Does it help? It does help. All things being equal. All things being equal, it does help. So the teacher asked him for this. He says that yes, right now that we know you are in a poem contest and all these things does not include the recent stuff he has just done. These things right now you're on our radar. Okay, so this is important. I'm just showing you. So how do you prepare for this contest? Let's talk about a couple of things. I forwarded it. I forwarded documents to you, right? Let's talk about a couple of things. I'm going to run through very fast. So that you all know what you have to do. Okay. Let me bring up the documents. Give me a while. Everybody has those documents ready, right? Everybody has those documents ready, right? Let's go to budding first. Okay, let's go to budding first. I'm going to make it very fast. Budding P1 and P2. So if you're lower primary, you would fall, emerging. You will fall into this category. Give me a while. Everybody can see my screen? So what you have to do is this. So what you have to do, okay, so what you have to do, for those of you who are master speakers, you would have this covered in class. For those of you who are not, it really doesn't matter because these 2 weeks is focused on this only. So you realize we gave you a couple, let's look at the right one. Sorry, this is emerging. Let me quickly go through it. Sorry, I should be looking at emerging. This for anybody who is in P1 to P2, you take a look at this. Okay, again, because it's not exact science depending on the speed you have, so it is a very short speed. So we give you some ideas here, the theme, past, present, and we give you some samples. Okay, some samples, and this, I won't go through this, you have all the things. And this one, we talk a little bit more. But for the preliminary rounds, I tell you what is most important. Preliminary what's important is your delivery. So that's why the content can be the same. When it comes to the finals, we have a lot more times, finals, semi-finals, that's in November, you got more time to prepare your script, right? So for right now, the preliminaries, the most important thing is just submit it. It doesn't matter whether you use this one. So take a look at this, speech 1. This is just given to you as an example, okay? And for the younger students, you may even want to cut down one paragraph because you don't need to speak so much. How we get into the semi-finals is just your 感觉, that's all, okay? So just use one of these features. You can cut off one paragraph because you find that unless you speak at a certain speed, unless you're very confident, this alone will probably take you 2.5 minutes. Okay, trust me, because we have tried out with previous students in class. So don't worry so much. At this point, most important for the preliminary rounds is just to submit. Okay, just submit. So just take one of the samples here, say it out. If you just get your parents to record you, say it out. If you really, really have to use a paper, then by all means go ahead. But I want the eye contact to be there. Do you understand? The eye contact to be there. At least some eye contact, because everything is a journey. If you find it's difficult to memorize, no problem. You can do anything you want with this. You can learn it. You can memorize it. You can chop and chase. You can use some ideas or ultimately use your own words. It really doesn't matter. These are just some ideas. They are not cast in stone. Can? So as I mentioned, it says 2 longs. All you have to do, just the simple tips. Everything. Let's talk about simple tips. Simple tips, everything, when it comes to delivery, it boils down to 3 things. The use of your voice, the use of your hand gestures. Hand gestures, we need to be expressive. Now, there are some teachers who are a bit confused. They said you cannot be expressive. Expressive doesn't mean theatrical. There's a difference between being theatrical and being expressive. I tell you what's being theatrical. A couple of years ago, I attended a speaking contest. This was an adult contest. And guess what? It was an adult contest. There was a stage. And if I remember correctly, one of the contestants came crawling on all fours. Then started meowing. Meow. I was thinking, are we doing an audition for cats or what? That is ultra theatrical. That is not public speaking. Do you understand? So there's the difference between, you see, right now I'm speaking to you. Do you realize that I'm expressive? How am I expressive? My voice. My voice is not. Okay. My voice is not like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to teach you how to speak well, okay? I think for this contest, you need to be expressive. To be expressive, you need to speak pretty flat. You cannot be enthusiastic. No, simple tips. Smile, smile. The expression is natural. But if you cannot use it, hence no problem. Focus on your voice first. Focus on your voice, emote using your voice. Highs and the lows conject. If you close your eyes and listen carefully, you might just hear the cluck of chickens. Children laughing, it doesn't matter. You can say whatever you want. You have the pauses, whatever. So just have a little bit of kanjue. If you cannot have the kanjue, no problem. You just take the first step. Very important. Can? Hand gestures, over time you get it, but you got to start somewhere. Just like one of the students last week, I realized that you cannot use his hand gesture. I said, don't care. I don't care whether you wave the Singapore flag, make roti prata, just keep on doing it, though it sounds very strange. If you close your eyes and listen carefully, don't worry if it feels awkward. You just need to get on doing it. Do you understand? It is a journey. So very important. Since everything is a journey, you got to try. The more you try, the better you become. Until it becomes second nature. Okay? So there are a couple of these. Just choose one, record it, and submit. Then straight away, you get a certificate of achievement already. Then, where possible, we are going to provide you feedback on your speech as well. I think this is important. A general feedback on how all the preliminary students have done. so that at least you get a rough idea. Do you understand? Very important. Okay? So speech 2, speech 3, so you can just choose one, record it, or if you want your master speakers teacher to record in a class, also get it done. So for those of you students in our classes, week 1, you already have chosen a script, right? So right now, before the class starts again, learn it and see if your teacher can record for you and submit it, or get a place to record for you and submit it. That's it. If you really have to use a piece of paper, no problem, just use. Okay, don't let it hinder you, but you do it with 感觉. Okay, why? I also love how green. So you say, even I mean, now Singapore isn't perfect, but it's a home. It's where I feel proud to grow up with. So it's fine. If you really cannot, everybody starts somewhere. But at least you get a sense of competing and speaking with a little bit of country. I'm giving you encouragement. I'm trying to make the rules easier for some of you so that you are not too obsessed about the script. You can have the best script in the world, but I tell you, this will always be true. The script is only as good as the teacher who delivers it. Same thing like your school curriculum, you know. You can have a fantastic set of curriculum. If the teacher is totally boring, it doesn't matter how good the curriculum is. But if the curriculum is mediocre, trust me, a very engaging teacher can still make that mediocre curriculum seem utterly fascinating. Why? Everything is about delivery. So when you deliver a speech, the most important thing is engagement with the audience. How do you engage audience? Eye contact, show you're interested, smile. Universal rules. So the only difference between me and the other students, okay, at this point in time, I think there's still a little bit of gap, but over time, I'm sure all these students will become better than I am, 100%. And this is the job of a teacher. The day when all the students become better than I am, that's when I feel really, really pleased. Right? The only thing which they cannot be better is because I'm like Naewon. Naewon always tries to be like me, but he has got to accept the reality that he will never, ever be as good looking as I am. So that can never change. So no matter how, but he can be better than I am in speaking, no problem. He can be better than in English. He can be better than I am than in broad knowledge of general things. Totally fair. Okay, but this is the reality. We all want our students to become better than we are. Then my job is established. Our job as teachers is established. When people say that why am I not afraid to share all these things in public? Why should I be afraid? We are sharing these things in public because we want you to be at this level. This is exactly why we are sharing these things in public. It's not to keep myself, then I die tomorrow, I die the next day, I die next year. Everything gets lost, right? So I'm sharing you because I am somebody who went through this stage. So trust me on this. All of you here are much better than I was anytime. I only became like that when I joined my stretcher. So speaking was something which I picked up along the way. I was not like that when I joined my stretcher, but over time I realized that it was just common sense to me. And I became better and better and better and better because I've done it like a million times. So this is something which everybody can learn. Absolutely, including adults. It's never too late. You just need to get our hands wet, and we just need to break the mindset that don't ever think that you're a weak speaker, because if you think you're a weak speaker, you will never ever be a good speaker, because that weak mentality will hinder you. That's number one. Number two, just because that you think that you're not a confident speaker, we will never ever be confident. That is also not true. Everything is a journey. I am a perfect example. Trust me on this. I don't say things which are not true. Okay, I'm a perfect example. I was never like that. People right now think that I'm a natural speaker because I can really speak for hours. Trust me, I can speak for hours. Right now, if I don't have a time limit, I can speak till the cows come home if you want. Okay, why? Because it has come to a stage where everything feels natural to me. And most importantly, this is a skill which everybody must understand, the ability to tell stories. The ability to tell is a skill. Because once you get this ability, everything becomes a story. You realize that everything I say is all about stories. This student, that student, this student, that student, my grandma, that grandma, my uncle, that uncle, my dog, my ex-girlfriend, the girlfriend who dumped me, or rather the 10 girlfriends who dumped me in just 5 years. Anything is a story for me. And it's entertaining, right? Everything is a story. So we need to develop this storytelling style, which is why I said that this is a great platform to develop. And once you get this storytelling style, it becomes very unique. And this is also the reason why I say that not all debaters are good storytellers. They may be good at debating with all the scripts, but storytelling is a completely different ballgame. You need to broaden your repertoire. And this is what we'll try to expose students, whether you're MC, whether you're a student moderator, whether you're a storyteller. Storytelling will always be a key skill. Obviously, you're not going to tell stories for debate, maybe very, very short, inconsequential one, but at the end of the day, it is absolutely a must in any skills you have. Once you can adopt this style, then you can be. And being expressive is always a virtue. Why I say this? Because once you get a certain level, which is why Kong Noi, right? Which is why being English drama is always good. Why? Because you learn to be expressive. Jared, I thought about just now. Jared, the superstar, he was in drama as well, all the way till JC. I was in drama in RI, but listen carefully. But because I didn't dare to speak, what was my role in Raffles Players? I tell you what was my role in Raffles Players. Because I didn't dare to speak then, my role in Raffles Players predominantly fall into two categories. In fact, there are only two parts which I was involved. The show, Animal Farm, very famous play, right? My role, one of the three pigs. My phrase in the entire drama, oing, 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 oing. That was my whole Raffles Players experience. Why? Because I didn't dare to speak. But because I didn't dare to stop being so sarcastic. Because I didn't dare to speak. And last time is different. Right now, the school CCAs are very competitive. You need to beat, you need to audition. But during my time in RI, no, you don't need to audition. Whoever wants to join the club, you join. Because CCAs were not compulsory then. You join the club. I like drama, so I thought I'd join the club. But because I cannot speak, what role do you expect them to give me? Napoleon, the main role? No. The Xiao Ping law, just like when you watch Squid Games, right? Squid Games, red light, the Xiao Ping would die. That's the sort of role. Correct? So this is exactly, I'm telling you my experience. Okay, because I didn't dare to speak. Not just me alone, many of my friends also didn't dare to speak. Right? And this is the reality. And I'll tell you why speaking is a journey and why this is. No, I have many friends who are scholars. Okay, because I was in a very competitive class. Many friends who are scholars. I was in a very competitive class in RI and RJC. In fact, in terms of grades, my class is the top class in RI at RJC. So in my RJC class, got a lot of super students. And one of them was a government scholar, a Navy scholar. You know, a couple of years ago, he came to see me. He said, Alvin, can I attend your lecture? I said that, now this guy is a colonel, okay? He's a major brigadier general or colonel. I can't remember his exact role, but right now, because in the army, they're forced to retire at a certain age, right? So right now, he's making for one of the ministries. But he said that, Alvin, I want to attend. He was my best friend in JC. He represented Singapore in two things. I represented Singapore in chemistry Olympiad, this was JC level, and I believe he was the school captain or vice captain for table tennis. So very, very good profile. But he came to me and asked me, Alvin, can I attend your lectures? That time it was conducted live. I said, why? Why do you want to attend my lectures? He said that I've been cocooned too much in the army. I really do not know how to project myself and how to speak. This is real, no? So I'm trying to tell you, so everything is a journey. So it doesn't matter what profile you have, we can always be better speakers in our own right. Okay, it's fine. So all of this, you all have the documents, just choose one, record it, and most importantly, is to speak from the heart. Everything is important. Speak with, if you don't have the country, no problem. You just need to take the first step. I want to emphasize, don't worry about perfection. Don't worry about whether you get in the finals, semi-finals, not important. What matters is that you take the first step. Then over time, you will get that confidence. Everybody clear? Everybody clear? So we have given you all these things. Yeah. So again, I want to go through those who are seniors, those who are more senior. Let's talk about this. Those who are more senior. Okay, this is at Sec 3 and above. So all you have to do is to choose one of these. If you want, you can use your own speech. It really doesn't matter. Adapt, use some ideas. It really doesn't matter. The points are the same, right? So all these things for the preliminary rounds, not so. It can be a little bit more flexible because you're all submitting by videos. Am I clear? So don't worry about the time. Don't worry about whether the content is the same. When it comes to semi-finals and finals, then it will all be your own speeches already. Okay, cool? Cool? Then we can talk about, at this point in time, what is most important thing for me is just your expression, your voice, your gestures, your eye contact, engagement. That's the most important thing. So again, the couple of these, we are here because you realize that they're actually same type of topic, standing the shoulders. SG60 is about remembrance. It's about remembering why we are here today. That's why we are here because of who they were. You realize that it is the same thing as standing on the shoulders, right? Same, but different way of phrasing it. So we are who we are because of who they were, the builders behind the scenes. Every morning I wake up in my HDB flat, brush my teeth with clean water, and walk to school on smooth pavements under shady trees. It all feels ordinary until I stop to think about the people who made all this possible. Many Singaporeans do not appreciate it. I came from Malaysia. I will tell you, Singapore has undergone dramatic transformations ever since I came to Singapore. When I came to Singapore in the early days in the 1980s, Singapore was just slightly better than where my hometown, but my hometown still remains undeveloped. Singapore has changed completely. This is also a fact. That's why people do not understand. Having come from another country, I totally understand. So you realize what this is a story, right? And how you do this through the emotions. My grandfather was one of those people. Fine, you can talk about it. It can be my grandfather. Don't talk about your girlfriend because your girlfriend cannot be from that generation. Okay? Yeah. So forth, so forth, so forth. So everything is about that country. Then another one is it is a slightly different style. We often think of history as something far away in books, museums, or monuments. But history, we want to breathe life in history, lives next door. And the people who built this country one ordinary day. So it can be very powerful. Depends on how you say it. So we are who we are because of who they were. See the pauses, everything does matter. Okay, cool. I'm just giving you some tips. There's no exact science, but the more you do it, the better. So just choose one. If you want to reinvent the wheel, no problem. You can just use your own speech and say it, but just submit it. It's simple as that. It won't take you. For those of you who are taking your PSLE, if you're here, anybody taking a PSLE now? Can you raise your hands? Whoa, there are some students here. Okay, so we should just finish your oral exam, right? But here today, that means you should be taking part, correct? But don't spend too much time. Just use one of these features, record it, and send. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that you're here tonight shows that you really are interested. Yes, and I told the PSLE students, don't waste too much time. Just spend 10, 15 minutes recording it, read the country, expressive delivery, then you submit. Okay? Cool? Cool? So don't make it too complicated for yourselves. I am making it, okay, the reason why I'm giving you this leeway is that for this stage, I am still in charge. Okay? In the finals, I may not be the only person in charge. But this one, I want to try to encourage as many students to do it as possible for your own purpose, not for ours. For us, it really doesn't matter, but it does matter. That's the reason why we're Emma and Feiran talking to the experience. Everything comes from a distance. I wish that I had such platforms when I was younger, but no, during my school, we never had such platforms. Okay? So just do it. It won't take just 10, 15 minutes. Choose one script you want. Don't need to reinvent the wheel. Don't need to care whether it's the same another script, because ultimately, we may have the same script, but how you deliver it will ultimately be all that matters. Similar like PSLE. PSLE, you read the same script, correct? Reading. But why do some people get full marks? Why do some people not get full marks? Everything boils down to that. Agree? Same. Speaking is like that. One teacher may deliver the science lesson, another teacher may deliver the science lesson. One teacher, you're totally engaged, another teacher, you totally switch off. This you're going to see whatever the school, whatever the JC, whatever the polytechnic, whatever primary school, whatever university, same. Okay? So everything is about the delivery. This is why I said delivery. Content is important, yes, but at this point in time, most important is the delivery. So if you have to choose between content and delivery, you focus on delivery. Am I clear? Content can only get you so much, but the way you speak it will make the difference. Small tip for you all. Ken, any questions? Any questions? Okay, at this point in time, I would like to ask Newin to share his speaking journey and why is it important from various things. So again, I want to repeat now, Newin is not your ordinary student. Newin was the winner of various speaking contests. Besides being the school's most competitive debater, he has won. He's in a rare category. Why? Because very few debaters actually wins speaking contest. This is a fact. So Naewon is in that category. Why is it important? Naewon, for those of you who do not know him, he was the YMCA PESA champion. He was the ACJC Senior Orators champion as well. Okay, so a lot of these things, and he was the champion for a few other speaking contests, and he's the only one Trinity exam, which has distinctions all the way from grade 5, grade 4 to grade 8, all in a space of 2.5 years. For those of you interested in Trinity exam, you just let us know. We see how we can make this public for those students who are not master speakers as well. Ken? So, okay, the stage is yours, Naewon.
Hey, thank you so much. Is there anything specific that you want me to cover, or is it just for me to interact? Or what do you have on your mind?
Yeah, okay, the thing I'm showing that is that maybe you can tell them how you have grown as a speaker. I think this is important because you remember when you were in primary school, you're actually different from what now you are in Sec 4. It's a completely different animal. So I want everybody to know that this is a journey. Why I say this? Because when I reminisce, I look at all the videos, all of you have completely changed. This is
You look at our videos from the past. How sweet of you.
yes. Okay, go on.
Okay, hi guys. Very good evening. Thanks for staying on. I'll keep this short and brief, don't worry. I think some of you here, when I look at the name list inside, right, the 50 plus people who are here, some of the names are quite familiar to me. I do know you guys. I may have helped you guys with your Trinity as well. Or some of the names are also very unfamiliar to me as well. Some people I do not know. So first and foremost, just introduce myself. I'm Naewon, and of course, Mr. Alvin has given me a very flattering introduction. But I really want to go introduce myself in a different way, rather than just talking about all of the accolades. I would like to actually share with you two traits of mine, and that how those two traits of mine has shaped my public speaking career. And I think that not just in public speaking, right? Everything that we do in life actually has to do with these two traits. And that's what I firmly believe in. Whether I do my prefectorial work in RI or whether I do anything else for that matter, I always employ these two principles. The first principle that I always employ, it is to be open-minded, right? And I say this because there are certain things that we are good at innately. Right? We may be good at certain things. We may be good at chess. We may be good at a particular subject that we do in school. We may be good at speaking. We may be good at sports. We may be good at musical instruments like Emma right there. Right? So we are good at very different things, and we are naturally gifted with these special things. But there always comes a time when we are exposed to new opportunities, when we are given opportunities to try out something new as well. So I think for me, what has really helped me was the open-minded aspect. So Mr. Alvin mentions that when I was in P6, I was a very different individual. And I'll tell you that that's absolutely true. And this was actually true what I told Mr. Alvin back in primary 6. I told him that I'm a very serious person. I can't joke around. I don't like to be a very informal person. I keep everything formal. Right? And I told Mr. Alvin this in primary 6. And because I was a debater for 3 years then, or 2 years then, I can't really exactly remember. So that was pretty much all of my speaking experience. So it was very rigid, very logical, very straight to the point, which of course did not allow me to show my emotional aspect. So what happened was that when Mr. Alvin met me in at the end of primary 5, and we got closer in primary 6, what he exposed to me was public speaking. Right? To try this out, he was like, you got this touch in you. I can sense this touch in you. And it was when I was ranting about my primary school English teacher. No, I wasn't ranting about her. I was ranting about a particular teacher's marking scheme. Yeah, I was ranting about it. And then he was like, "Yeah, you're pretty good at ranting, huh?" And then I was like, "Come over and I'll help you to introduce you to public speaking and whatnot." So from there, with that open-mindedness, I was able to learn from him. Of course, he is a very engaging speaker, as you all have known. And from him, I've gotten to learn a lot more. And that's how I've gotten so far in my speaking journey. Right. So that's the first thing, your open-mindedness, especially for those of you who are just starting out in a public speaking career. I think that's one thing that's very important, because some of these things, right, whether it's jokes, right, for those of you who know me, you will know that I like to joke around a lot in all of my speeches. And not just jokes, right, also about morals, being vulnerable to the people around you when you tell stories. I think that's something that some people may not be familiar with, or something people may not be comfortable with, but it's something that we have to try, right? It's something that we need to move on with. And for those who are even maybe younger as well, to a certain extent, I believe that of course, when we are younger, right, our emotional competencies are not that developed yet. So for me at that age, right, I think the most important thing is just to try it out, just to see what it's like to speak your mind. Because at that age, when we're like maybe P3, P4, P5, that's when we're the most innocent, right? When we're the most innocent, when we're the most. I remember back in my back in those days. I feel so old saying this. When back in those days when I would just come home and tell my parents about everything that happened in my day. This particular teacher scolded me or whatnot. Yeah, so just starting with that and just engaging will already give you the that heads up, and it will allow you to develop that competency, which will then bring you forward when you grow older as well. Because as we grow older, I'm sure all the parents in the call here will agree with me. When we grow older, we become a lot more insecure. We become a lot more conscious of what we say because we're more conscious of what people think about us. So that's something that is difficult to fix once we have reached that level. So it's very important to get that started from a younger age as well. So that's my first piece of advice. And very quickly, the second piece of advice that I personally think it is very important actually, and I say this as a critical mindset, not cynical, but critical. And critical, I mean making sure that we can point out our own flaws and accepting what people say of us. And that's one thing that I hold very dear. So whenever my friends have criticisms about me and whatnot, I always listen to them, and I don't get offended most of the time, right? Unless it's something outlandish. I don't get offended because I think it is absolutely critical, not just in public speaking, but everything that we do, to be able to accept criticism and to be able to move forward with that, even if it's something that we don't like. Like, for instance, I may not like being in this webinar at all when I could be watching Korean movies after my final exams, but I'm still here. I'm kidding. I love coming on webinars, right? So it's that sort of criticism that we want to give ourselves, right? That it's very important to ensure that some of the things that we do may be wrong, and to reflect it to ourselves honestly. And I think that is most critical, especially in public speaking, because some of the things that we say, we may not know the implications of what we say, whether we offend someone or whether it's very inspirational on someone, unless that person actually tells you, right? Unless you actually accept what the person tells you after they do tell you, right? When you give that particular speech. And that's what we try to foster at Master Speakers as well. We always do very critical things, where we try to rank kind of the performance that you've done from previous times as well, to see how much you've improved, or in certain areas, whether you may have fallen short, such that you're able to look back on this and move on, right? So in that sense, I would say that my speaking journey has been really characterized by those two traits: being susceptible, being vulnerable, and being acceptive of feedback and criticism. And second thing is about being open-minded to try out new opportunities, right? So let's say, for me, I'm not an AI person. I don't like tech. I don't I have a Facebook account. I don't have an Instagram account. That will show you how young I am, yet so old, right? So in that sense, but it's something that I tried. It's something that I want to continue doing, and that's why I'm trying to learn more about that as well. So in that sense, I think that's really just, I've spoken for quite a while now. I think that's just my 2 pointers I want to give to everyone here, whether it's regardless of whatever age you are in.
Okay, thank you. I just noticed that Moses is in, so I've asked the team to promote him to be a panelist. So for those of you who do not know Moses is a 2012 President Scholar. As you know, you need to be pretty exceptional to be a President Scholar. And Moses is very versatile because he was a 4-time all-round winner at RI. Then he had quite a number of scholarships. Over the years, JC, University, 11 scholarships in total, in whether it's JC, University, so forth, so forth. So I think it's good to hear from Moses. Moses, maybe you want to share with students your speaking journey. And Moses, I would say, was my very first Master Speakers student, or rather not my Master Speakers, Mind Stretcher and Speaking student, because at the time we didn't have Master Speakers, but he was one of the pioneer students. And last time when he was in RI, he used to tell me that, Uncle Alvin, whenever I go out and try to speak, my tongue, I start to stutter and the voice froze in my throat. Then I said that right now you're speaking to me, you don't have that problem. Right? So why is it that when every time you go out, you have that problem? Because everything is a journey. You have to go through that phase. Okay? So Moses, maybe you can share with everybody.
Yeah, sure. No, thanks. Now I see about like 50 people online. I think I wanted to just make a plug. So, NYOC is maybe let me just talk a little bit about NYOC, then I'll share with you the journey. So NYOC is it's our initiative that we're organizing together with parts of the Singapore government. the Speak Good English movement. Right. So this is now a national platform that we've put together because we think, with the work that a lot of you guys are doing and the interest that you guys are showing, like what Alvin said, actually having a national platform to learn within, and then after that to showcase what you can do is really critical, right? The national platform is different. It gives you a bigger stage and more exposure, which is great for both building the public speaking skills as well as your profile. Okay, so when we put this together, it takes a lot of work to orchestrate this. And I hope, as Alvin continues to make it easier, writing some sample scripts, that you guys will carve out some time, right? It can be 5-10 minutes. Give it a shot. Even in the recording of that short clip, I think you will start to realize how rewarding the journey can be, right? And as part of the NYOC program, those who are shortlisted, there will be additional training opportunities as we run up to the finals. So I think for all of you here, this is a no-brainer. And I'd love to see some of you there. And when we meet at the various training sessions, we'll be very, very happy to learn more about you guys. So I wanted to also say, on this speaking journey thing, it really does start with the first step. Alvin said that I was stuttering. That is untrue. I was vomiting.
Yes.
I was so nervous in my first few speeches that whenever I went up, right, I would get this urge to puke. And sometimes you get so bad that in the middle of a debate, if I didn't get it under control, I remember 1 minute into a speech, suddenly it hit me. I became nervous because I wasn't sure what I was going to say. And then it hit me, I had to walk out of the room. And it was so embarrassing. And it was something that at that time, I wasn't doing it to excel. I was just doing it so that I could talk. Fast forward, many things that Alvin said about how the storytelling mode is really important. These are short sentences with a lot of depth in them. If I can just share for those of you who are in P6, for example, or for those of you who are P4 to P5, the storytelling mode is something that you will have to engage in oral. When you are talking through your life experiences and stimulus-based conversation. It is something that you will have to do in your DSA interviews when you talk about yourself. When you go into Sec 1 and you start to talk to different CCAs, many a times there will be interviews. As you go through secondary school, there'll be many and many opportunities where nobody is going to make a decision about you based on a piece of paper. They're going to want to talk to you, get to know you. And if you're unable to tell a story, you cannot get that across. And this only gets more and more important as you go into secondary school, Sec 4 like Nehun is, as you go to JC with even more, opportunities to grow into leadership positions, which all require you to be a great communicator and all require you to be able to tell engaging stories, to put together an engaging narrative. So this is a huge, huge journey. It never stops. Recently, at one of the Master Teacher events, I gave my worst speech ever. So it never stops. Okay? But it starts with the first step. Okay, you can wait 6 months to take your first step, or you can take it tomorrow. Take the sample script, record a video, sign up, and you have put one foot forward on the journey already. So I hope many of you will put on those shoes and take those first steps with us, right? Yeah, anything that you guys want to know, we are easily available. If you don't have Alvin's contact, like we have inquiries, just WhatsApp us on our MyStretcher numbers. Like it will make its way to us. Okay, so let us help you dispel any notions of this being a hard thing to sign up for. And I think it'll be quite a rewarding journey for you to start on.
Okay. So anyway, for those of you who ask, right, what if your parents or your friends missed this speech? Not a problem. I think we will share this recording with everybody because I think we want it to be accessible. Then one of the parents was asking, do we need to memorize the speech? Okay, as I mentioned, this is the preliminary rounds. We're going to make it as easy as possible. Let me demonstrate. Let me demonstrate. If I memorize, let me give you an example. If I memorize, but I do it like that. If I memorize and I do it like that. Now, spaces to slow down won't slow our progress. They'll make us kinder, calmer, and better prepared for life's challenges. What Singapore needs most today isn't another skyscraper, it's the courage to stop, look around, and remember that life isn't a race, it's a walk worth enjoying. Right now, I memorize, okay? I memorize, but I speak that way. But if you don't memorize, because you find it difficult to memorize because of time constraints, whatever, but you read with emotions for semi-finals, for the preliminary rounds, I still think it's okay. Okay, I feel it's okay, but not for the finals. That's why I said we are trying to make it as easy as possible for me. So if I do it this way, right, instead I'm drawing right. Now, spaces to slow down won't slow our progress. They'll make us kinder, calmer, and better prepared for life's challenges. What Singapore needs today isn't just another skyscraper. It's the courage to stop, look around, and remember that this isn't a race. It's a walk worth enjoying. So right now I'm reading, but you compare to the other person who was memorizing, who did it better? I think the choice is obvious, right? So this is a skill. This is my point. So if you really cannot memorize, but if you read everything, then obviously it doesn't work because this is not a reading contest. This is a speaking contest. So if you want to read, I think it's okay. You don't need to memorize, just a little bit here. I think it's okay still. If you really do it and you're exceptional at it, then you probably get in ahead of somebody who just memorized, not expressive. This is my frank opinion, but I do not know. Second question, is there a student called Lawrence Wong? No, it is not a student, it's HR, our Prime Minister. So thank you, Mr. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, for being in our seminar tonight. Nihun asked the question. So Nihun, now you realize the difference between you and me is that I'm more spontaneous than humor.
So there's a question about whether MSP students are competing against students. Yes, I mean, it is a national platform. So we do have participants from various age groups, including those that we don't yet support as master speakers. But it will be within age groups. And I think the most important thing is give it a shot because, if you are selected, there will be additional training opportunities, additional mentorship opportunities available to you. So don't be scared. I think anything worth doing, there will always be other people who are interested to do it.
So don't be scared. Just take the plunge and trust us, all of us have been through this journey. So we are technically speaking from experience. And that's the reason why I got some of the newer students. They may be a little bit more new compared to Naywood, but they have come a long way. And this is a fact. I'm speaking directly from the heart. Everything is a journey. And even then, I gave myself as an example, correct? Over time, I became better and better. And by teaching aggressive students like Naywood, I also become better because I got to be even more aggressive. Otherwise, how can I teach you? Correct? So this is exactly how we all learn over time. And this is very important. So regardless of your child's level, teammate, master speaker student, mind stretcher student, non-mind stretcher student, it really doesn't matter. This is not a stage for just a group of students. This is a stage for everybody. And we do not discriminate. That is why you say that we share everything. Whatever we teach here, we share with everybody as well. Because we just want to get you taking part. Because we are doing things for a reason. Okay? Because everything, whatever you say, must start with that small step. It doesn't matter whether you win, it doesn't matter if you're semi-finals, but when you start with that small step, I very clearly demonstrated with Emma and Feiran. There's a reason why both of them are here. Because, and trust me, if you actually see them in speaking wise, you'll be stunned that they're actually really good right now. Okay, everything is a journey. And the more you believe it, and I say this with utter conviction. If I'm not convinced about this, I won't be having this seminar. I'm telling you this because for us, we always believe in doing things which add value. If it wastes your time, it wastes my time, I'm not going to conduct it for sure. I'm not going to waste the students' time as well. I think this is important to understand. Okay? So have you answered all the questions? Have you answered all the questions? Are there any more questions which I didn't cover or you want to ask any of the students?
There's one more in the Q&A.
One more in the Q&A. Let's take a look at the Q&A. One more in the Q&A. Okay, I see this question. So don't worry. Are there top 3 prizes awarded for each category? There will be attractive prizes. What is the cash prize? No, the cash prize is not available yet because we are looking at it. But cash prize is not really the most important thing. You see, what happened at the National Poem Contest? Let me tell you what happened. Okay, I only know the 3rd place winner because Sheza was the 3rd place. I thought Sheza was really good, but Sheza was the 3rd place winner because she forgot one whole stanza. So you must understand how the National Poetry Contest works. You got to memorize it. So you're marked for memory. And Sheza forgot one whole stanza. Me, you don't need to say already lah. Me, I kept on prompting, mix up all my words, so forth. Yeah, but that's the point. My point is that, and Sheza, despite missing that stanza, she still ended up 3rd, which I thought was pretty amazing. So, and for her, she got $70. For all other consolation prize is $20. But that's really not important. Trust me, because confidence is not something you can buy with money. But are there cash money? Yes, there is. How much money do you want? Tell me. 1,000, 2,000, $10, 5,000? Are you at that level? Okay, if you can outspeak me in any speaking contest, spontaneous, then we'll give it to you. You may be outspeak me in time to come, but at this time, probably not. Okay, cool. So don't worry about the cash prize there, but there will be big trophies. Anytime you're a semi-finalist, I think you deserve something. Why we're giving these trophies? Because we always view it as a form of encouragement. And not only that, your profiles, right? I mentioned just now about the student profiles. I think it's important to take notes now. Take note, everybody, for those of you who are master speaker students, right? If you take up, because I know of quite a number of students who the school represent the school, you represent the school in this. In fact, in the school Chinese contest, Tamil contest, you're number 2 or number 3. This is part and parcel of that portfolio. So I'm going to share the template with everybody so that they form your portfolio for this, and we will award you trophies for this in the next award presentation. Because even though you see all the poetry finalists at Poem, they don't get trophies. Not important, but because they took the first step, we are going to give them the trophies on our own. Master Speakers trophies or my special trophies, it doesn't matter, for being a finalist. I think they deserve a recognition. And when you're young, you like to collect trophies. This is a fact. When I was young, I used to collect a lot of trophies. When I grew into when I kept them all the way to university. Then I chucked them all away because they were getting on my nerves. Okay, got no cabinet space, right? But this is a part of person. When you are a kid, I think it's good to collect trophies. It's a recognition for you, and we all feel pleased. Many students ask us for trophies, and I believe that they deserve this recognition. This is what we're going to give all of you. Okay, so Kahoy, if you are not a Master Teacher student, if you're a Master Teacher student, also you let us know so that we also give you the trophy as well, even though you are not a Master Speaker student because you are a finalist in the Poem contest, right? So I think you deserve a trophy as well. Just let us know. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Alvin Kuek. I give you my phone number, 92363662. So this is my phone number. You can take it down. For those of you who do not know me, then feel free to contact me if any questions. Okay?
Mr. Quack,
Yes.
what is the number again?
92363662. You find it? I type it in the chat already.
Okay, thank you.
9236. Were you the one who took a picture with me right at the end of the session?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So what happened was this, Moses, right? After the poetry contest ended, there was a mother and 2 kids who were waiting for me. So it ended up that one of them was the finalist because they see me in the various My Stretcher webinars. and the brother is in Sec 4, so they're waiting to take photos with me.
Got it.
I know I'm very good looking, so thank you for viewing me as a role model. I understand why people want to take pictures now, but thank you very much because I find it was really pleased. I felt really, really happy that you actually stayed back to take picture with me. It's not that I'm a model superstar, but yeah, I believe you added some value in your education journey. So I really appreciated that gesture. Like people like Newon, I'm grateful. I've been taught him for so many years. He doesn't even want to stay back to take any photograph with me. So that's why I recognize gratitude when I see it.
So you should be asking me to take photos.
You see, now it's come to that level, asking me to take photographs with him. My God, what monster have I created?
As proud as flamingo feathers on your shirt.
Okay, so I guess that's about it. Any questions? You all got your documents ready. If you're not too sure, miss out any documents, let us know. And I'll be sharing a couple of things with you. So we're going to give you a platform. We're going to give you the template so that at least you can store all this information. So for people like Shamik Shah, I see a couple of students here. For people like Shamik Shah, for people like Caden, whether it's Trinity, whether it's this or that, whether it's PESA, whether it's a school demo contest, whether it's a CC contest, make sure you put it down. Just like Emma, I put it down for Emma, so at least it forms part of your speaking portfolio. Does it matter? Yes, it is increasingly important. Right now, RI has changed the DSA. Right now, DSA is about communication and speaking. In the past, it used to be just English, it used to be close, compre, some poetry, so forth. So it has changed because communication is really important. Once you have that, it is a distinct age. I repeat, it is a distinct age. You may not believe me now, but over time, you will believe what we say. Okay? Cool? Yes. So thank you very much, everybody. And thank you to all the students, Emma, Naeun, and Farah. And thank you, Moses, for making the special guest appearance. And thank you to all our students here and all parents here to join. Any questions, please feel free to ask us. Just click the button to submit. That's all I ask. Okay? Cool? You'll still have time, so don't worry. That's it. Thank you very much.